Howdy, people, and welcome to the 5th Chugcratic Extracurricular Seminar. I am the Dean of Critique, Runestone, and joining me for this one is the headmaster himself, Kit Catastrophe.
Hi, I got drunk at a frat party last night.
So, as some of you may be aware, I wasn't in the most recent main podcast for the Chugcratic Seminar, number 8, the one on Skybound Comics, because, well, I haven't really been reading the comics. But for what it's worth, it sounds like you and Char had a lot of fun talking about them.
It was a really fun episode, and I'm super excited to do more comic discussions.
For the main podcast or extracurricular?
Both. It depends on how, I guess, big the comics in question are.
Very well. For this extracurricular, we are going over the figures discussed in Hasbro Pulse's most recent live stream on the 25th of April. There's a fair few things to cover, even if some of them are probably out in stores by now. Just to get these out of the way, they did a recap on the following Studio Series figures: Bumblebee Movie Shockwave, Concept Art Sunstreaker, Gamer Edition Sideswipe, 86 Swoop. For what it's worth, I personally am looking forward to these figures, some more than others. I have some reservations about Shockwave, Bumblebee Movie Shockwave, since he, of course, apes the Prime design, at least in tank mode, and I gotta say, I'm not a particularly fan of that tank design to begin with. Not in Prime, and I honestly don't know how I feel about it here either.
I mean, it's fine. It's nothing we haven't seen before, which is both a good thing and a bad thing. Um, Really, let's just talk about the elephant in the room here. He has no bicep swivel, and this is a $35 freaking dollar toy. So that's kind of inexcusable. I don't really care what Hasbro says about it. That's just straight up inexcusable.
Well, despite that, it looks like he has. Well, there's some sort of joint he's using in the arm to suffice for that.
Um, I'm not sure. Maybe they just pulled out and pegged in the arm at 90 degrees or something below the elbow.
I mean, yeah, they probably could have worked in more articulation, but
Yeah,
you know,
you know what? You know what? It is probably a below the elbow swivel. I'm not sure. I haven't seen a review. I'm sure there's one out there, but it looks like it might be a below the elbow swivel.
well, this figure is actually out in stores now. I've seen it in stores.
Yeah,
But
I own.
I'm still holding off on this one for at least a little bit.
I think I'm just gonna be okay with the core class figure that I got a few years ago. No idea why they made that though.
Then, of course, you have the Concept Art Sunstreaker, which is a toy you already have and apparently really enjoy.
Yeah, but caveat here. I got it during the Target Circle sale, so he ended up being $13, which is cheaper than fucking Combiner Wars Deluxes, I think. And for that price, yeah, he's pretty sweet. His transformation's solid. His car mode actually looks a lot better than it does in pictures, and the robot mode's cool. I just wish that Hasbro would admit that concept series is more like, at this point, is more like, oh, what if this character was in this movie, instead of, oh, we totally had this design floating around for all this time, guys, but trust us.
Well, I don't think it really matters how they market it. It'd just be nice to see some designs that weren't in the movies, but still be designed in a similar aesthetic. Kind of what they did for the first few movie toy lines to begin with.
Yeah, but the thing that sucks is that this is the angle they're going at, and they still won't make a fucking breakaway. Give a Studio Series breakaway, Hasbro, you cowards.
Did he
Make them
appear in the
big.
games?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, then it'd probably be Gamer Edition. And speaking of, I mean, well, first I'll just say that I'm kind of looking forward to Sunstreaker. But speaking of Gamer Edition, Sideswipe looks like he might be one of the better ones, and unfortunately, that's a pretty low bar.
Yeah. Um I've been taking advantage of Target sales so much recently, and I got this one at the same time as Sunstreaker, and out of every single Gamer Edition mold, this is probably the second best, which, like you said, sucks. Car mode's pretty good. I like it. It looks like Sideswipe should. Feels nice. Transformation is more involved than you might think. But the robot mode, yeah, that picture's doing that. Believe it or not, the picture is actually doing it a favor because you don't really see how massive his backpack is. I also can't get the I also can't get his arm off to do the gimmick because it's just on there so tight, and I'm afraid pulling any harder would break it.
Maybe you should be glad that it's as tight as it is because the other extreme, probably more frustrating.
I honestly haven't had really any issues in that regard. Any arms being too loose.
On top of that, isn't this one of the figures that now has a post with his weapon that allows him to actually handhold it?
Yeah, sort of. It's like a little rectangular tab, but it fits in his hand. Him and Starscream both have posts, so I'm glad that they made that change going forward. It was a really, really bad oversight on their part, honestly.
Well, I'm personally looking forward to these Gamer Edition figures more than most, but even I'll admit that a fair few of these figures are problematic.
I coped and bought Starscream yesterday because he was on sale. They were having a 20% off sale, and Studio Series Voyagers are already cheaper as it is at Target. They're back down to $30. So God, what's 20% of 30? Yeah, I got them for like $24. I'm not gonna sing his praises or anything, but it goes down a lot better at $24 than it does at 35. The original 2012 version is still far superior, but I don't know. I like how his robot mode feels in hand. It's very round and chunky, very very chunky. The whole bloated cockpit works a lot better when you actually feel it in your hand than when you take pictures of it on a camera. If that makes sense. I know that's the biggest cope I've ever said on a stream, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I have him. He's okay. Don't know when I'll review him. And lastly, of this quartet, we have 86 Swoop.
Yeah, the Dinobots ending on a big fart. I don't have any problems with the robot mode. Robot mode's fine, but that that Dino mode, ugh, blech. I hate it. I don't really know how to describe it besides Power of the Primes did it better. The wings are the big part for me. They're just really thick and straight and not that big. Whereas Power of the Primes, they were long, thin, and like curved. And the body's just too big in comparison to them. I really wish the wings were like twice as big. But
Well, if I'm not mistaken, this toy has multiple display options with the wings.
yeah, um, I don't really remember. I don't watch these streams. I just wait for everyone else to post the pictures on Discord or TFW.
I
Because
mean, I'm
the streams usually happen while I'm at work, which is fucking stupid. Why are you gonna do
well.
it at like 10 a.m. on a Tuesday? Who's gonna watch that?
I mean, I again, I'm fairly looking forward to Swoop. I don't know if he'll end up being my favorite of the Dino bots, but and maybe the issue regarding the wings will be one of those looking better in person situations.
Yeah, we can only hope. So far, Sludge is still far and away my favorite, and I actually have Snarl this time. I have all four so far. Thank God for Target, and thank God for the Circle sale. I got so much on that Circle sale. I think I
Yeah,
mentioned it on the last stream.
yeah, it sounds like you did.
Yeah, just chugging away.
So, with those four more or less covered, we move on to this guy, and hot off the release of the at least the first Transformers 1 trailer, we have the first Studio Series. Is it one of those A-level figures?
Yes, it is A level, at least according to the wiki. I went on the Studio Series page last night for I keep a catalog of my collection. So but yeah, I saw this. It was listed as A level.
So Studio Series 112 is Transformers 1 Deluxe Class Optimus Prime.
Yeah. Um I don't know how he managed to look so bad in the trailer and look so good as a toy. I have thoughts on the Transformers 1 trailer, but I don't think we need to get into that. But yeah, it looks like a decent toy. The gray is a little too burnt for my taste, but that's fine.
It looks like he suffered from photo degradation, if that's the word.
Yeah, he came pre-yellowed. Thank you, Hasbro.
This design, the vehicle design, is very reminiscent, or at least partially reminiscent, of Cybertron mode animated Prime because of the. It looks like he has treads and tracks
Yeah,
in
I
the rear
guess
section.
so. I guess so. Yeah, I could kind of see it. I just noticed he has little caster wheels in his shoulders. Yeah, it's not a bad Optimus design. It's actually pretty good. It is a little bit of a shame that his arms are just hanging out there straight out on the vehicle mode. I mean, from this angle, the fists kind of blend in with the legs, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. But yeah, I'm probably gonna skip it, even if it does turn out good, just because I have a lot of Optimus Primes. I don't need very many more. I just got Missing Link. He's great.
Tell me about it. But for me, this one's a maybe because with these A-level figures, is it strictly the deluxe class?
As far as I know, but I could be wrong. I don't really know a whole lot about it. All I know is that they're also making a G1 Bumblebee to go with this.
Yes.
Or, sorry, an 86 Bumblebee. My bad.
Well, it does. It's the same thing, and
Yeah.
it may or may not end up having the chibified Volkswagen alt mode. We'll find out. But apparently, with these Transformers One Deluxes for Studio Series, at least, well, that's the thing in and of itself. They're apparently making a bunch of them deluxes because they're supposed to be more or less the same size as each other.
Yeah.
So we can eventually expect Megatron, or I'm sorry, D16 and B127.
I thought his name was Badassatron.
Yeah, we're calling him B. Yeah, I'm just gonna say I know you and Char have your reservations about this film based
Yeah,
on the
I
trailer,
I
but
have to I have to constantly retell myself this is a movie that is explicitly for kids. That's why it's not for me.
well, I mean, it does look fun, even though I do agree with some of your thoughts on perhaps it being a bit too formulaic, or at least the criticism that I'm aware that you had was that the humor was just cringe.
Yeah, it was very MCU.
Yes, I have been keeping up with the Marvel movies, by the way, because they're way oversaturated.
It's just very modern Disney in general. MCU, Star Wars, it would fit right in.
At the very least, I'll give it a chance
Yeah.
because this is probably where obviously they play up the jokes for the trailer, but the tone might actually be quite a bit different.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I haven't really considered that, but still, I'm probably not going to see it in theaters. I'll pick it up on Blu-ray or something.
This toy, like I said, it looks like it functions okay. I'll wait to see how the others turn out. And I mean, they weren't revealed in this live stream, but there were promo shots of the mainline Transformers 1 toys, which included a deluxe Optimus Prime / Orion packs, as well as Alpha Trion.
Yeah.
They're really loving homaging that Lost BotCon concept for Alpha Trion, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, the Titans Return toy was pretty good. I liked it.
Anyway, I think we've talked about this one enough. We shall crack on to Comic Edition Grimlock. I don't think
Yeah.
I don't really have much to say for this one. I have the Studio Series 86 Grimlock. It's a fun toy. This one, obviously done in the Marvel comic art style, so a lot of the blacks or grays, whatever you want to call it, is replaced with a brighter blue. You also have the brighter yellow, black streaks, multiple swords that are apparently meant for some of the other Dinobots, and the packaging is based on Marvel comic issue number 8, and in America that is.
given how influential an issue that is, I can tell you it's one that I don't have. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about this that I didn't say about Shockwave. Probably buy it if they reissued the comic that it's based on, but since they're not, I don't have any reason to buy it. I don't even want the swords that much.
Or the crown.
No, not the crown either.
I mean, I guess we don't have much to say about Grimlock, but I will say that towards the end of the live stream, when they did those space bridge port reveals, one of the figures revealed at the end was Straxus.
Yes.
He's supposed to be some sort of Pulse exclusive, and another of these comic edition figures at that.
I mean, rumor has it he's just going to be a Kingdom Galvatron retool, which is fine. If it looks good enough, I'll probably get it.
Yeah,
Really.
I'm not surprised that if they went down that road.
I have the first 2 issues he appeared in. I have both the Smelting Pool and whatever the next one is, the one with Spanner.
So, with that, I think we shall move on to what I think was meant to be the big highlight of that live stream. Robosen flagship G1 Megatron. Is that indicative of your opinion?
Yeah, that yawn was on purpose. I mean, it was also happenstance, but I hammed it up on purpose. I simply cannot give a single shit about Robosen anything. I saw it transforms. That's pretty cool. I didn't expect that, but it's like $1,000. It doesn't do anything that I like really care about. I did find out it actually still stands up on its own if you turn it off. That's cool.
Well, I mean, because I know Sixo has done a review of at least an early sample of the toy. I mean, I've seen that review, and for what it's worth, you know, it actually looks cool seeing it transform, and the way it moves about, some of its action features, some are cool, some are kind of amusing.
I've just sort of seen clips on Twitter and Instagram about it. I didn't really have the 20 minutes to put into that video, but still, it's like $900. I'm never gonna buy it.
The design of the robot mode seems very inspired by the somewhat lanky Combiner Wars Megatron.
Yeah, especially with how the fusion cannon came out, where it was like reversible or whatever. They definitely picked up some notes from that.
As well as the treads on his back.
Yes.
I mean, at least with this one, they seem to have fixed up the proportions a little by, making his shoulder joints not torso for starters, and his legs are a bit bulked out. And he appears to come with a sword, which is more inspired by the Siege Megatron. All I've been thinking about since this came out is I wonder if the design will be what they ape for the upcoming Studio Series 86 Leader Class Megatron.
They're making an 86 liter Megatron?
Yeah. Have you not
Oh,
been keeping up with the leaked listings?
no, I don't find them particularly interesting.
Well, this was one of the listings that was leaked. Apparently, they're
Oh,
doing a Studio Series 86 Megatron, and it better not be a bloody Earthrise retool, or that's all I gotta say.
it will be. Did you hear about what they're doing for Springer?
Yes, they're retooling the Voyager class version.
Yeah, they're giving him a new chest, new hands, and new swords, and charging you $20 more for them. What are they thinking? What are they thinking?
Where does that come from, by the way?
That's AVGN.
Oh, okay. I haven't really watched a lot of his videos.
I haven't in like years, but that's like his most famous line. What were they thinking?
But I mean, going back to Robosen Megatron, I mean, like I said, I have seen Sixo's review of this one, and apparently it has some interesting features. Like apparently, to phrase this as PG as I can, you tap certain parts of him, and he responds accordingly. We'll say.
Stranger danger. Stranger danger.
Was that a Frank Welker impression?
A very bad one, yeah. Turned out more like Vegeta than Megatron.
I mean, for me, it's just the simple fact that all of these figures, even the Elite Optimus Prime that they did, are out of my price range.
They're out of everyone's price range, really. Except for fucking like my friend Arkham. He owns a fucking Optimus Prime. I don't know
Which
how.
one?
I think it was a gift though. I think he has like a rich relative who gifted it to him.
Which one did he get?
The big one.
The
The
flagship one, not the Elite
yeah.
one.
I What's the elite one?
Well, the Elite one is sort of a downsized version of the flagship one.
Oh no. Okay, so then the flagship one. Yeah, the big one.
What does he think of it?
He thinks it's good. We only talked about it for like 5 minutes, but
Mind you, if I received a gift like that, essentially for free for Christmas or birthday, I wouldn't necessarily complain either.
yeah.
Whether or not they
But
do a downsized version of this, of Megatron, and even then he probably cost, going by US price, he'd probably be $700.
and I will cost 500 quid, and I will cost 500 more. Anyway, let's talk about some Chug. Some actually interesting toys. For better or for
Well,
worse.
I mean, all I can say is like I just quickly give some more thoughts on Megatron. You know, it's one of those cases where for me it's an impressive toy that I'm never going to be able to own.
Yeah.
I stand a better chance of owning certain Titan class figures more than this guy.
Oh, yeah. They're cheaper. Yeah, you'd have a better chance of owning Unicron than this thing. Okay, that's a bit hyperbolic. I'm sorry.
No, I have a better chance of owning a bunch of the Japanese Beast Wars figures than this guy.
Well, that is actually true.
Um, but you
That
know, with this
combo is
one,
not that hard to come by.
all I'll say is for this one, the tank mode looks clean. It transforms really nice. The action features are really cool. The fact that you can actually customize your own action features with, appropriate background music.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. If you want to know more about this guy, I recommend you watch Sixo's video.
Theo Adams also did a very good video on Optimus Prime. The gist I got from it was it's a very good toy if you're into, but only if you're into robotics in general.
Sixo's kid, who he calls 7-0, loves this as well and considers it his favorite.
That's I've always loved that name. That's a brilliant name. If I had a kid, he'd be Kid Catastrophe.
So with that, we shall move on to the Legacy Wave 3 reveals. Like I said, they crammed quite a bit into this particular live stream, starting with Nucleus.
Okay, this was like the surprise for me because up until this point, I was just completely over the rocks. I didn't really care about any of them. But I don't know. This one works for me. I like it. It I know for a fact you haven't seen Code Geass, but it's like if you take the Lancelot nightmare and you made it a rock, that's what this looks like. I might get this one, especially if there's a Target sale. But yeah, this might be the only rock. Well, shit, I forgot about Shard. This and Shard might be the only rocks I get.
I have Shard. She's pretty cool.
She has not come out yet in my area.
I'm sure you'll find her well into 2025 or something.
Yeah, knock on wood.
But Nucleus, he is apparently decoed after Nucleon, which, to those watching, if you don't know, is the fuel, at least in the Marvel comic, that leads to the creation of the Action Masters.
But he can transform.
I know, right? What's the deal there?
Explain, Hasbro.
But it looks like they've retooled a fair bit from Magnus.
Yeah.
Which go on.
Helps that these guys are like pull apart and put back together dudes, so retooling is even easier.
And they didn't make on the live stream. They didn't make the obvious rocket car pun. I guess one thing that I am kind of disappointed that they haven't done so far is to release versions of these molds with fluorescent paint apps. Like,
yeah, glow in
I
the
would
dark.
love to see some of these done with like a neon blue, like a neon blue accents, you know, in reference to Energon.
Yeah.
And purple for dark Energon.
Get some radium paint on these things.
Do you think they'll do more molds after this one?
Honestly, probably not, because we only got like 3 Junkion molds. We only got like 3 fossil molds. 4 if you count the little one. I'd say 1 more molds of these at most, but I'm not even sure they're selling that well. So
yeah, a lot of these pull apart and equip figures don't seem to be hot sellers.
The fossilizers did great from what I hear. They made like fucking 1 billion repaints of those.
Well, yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, to be fair, there's been more of those compared to things like the Junkions and especially the modulators. But nonetheless, we shall crack on to the next one. And I think I know what reactions I'm going to get for this one. Sideburn.
Okay, next slide. So, yeah, I didn't buy Shadow Striker because she looked like shit. This one looks like shit too, so I'm not gonna buy it either.
I'm guessing it's the vehicle mode that's not doing it for you.
Oh, definitely. That vehicle mode looks like absolute trash. Like, what even is that? And they didn't even do the flames right. That you can barely see them sticking out from the under plastic color.
I can understand them not trying to get too close to the Dodge Viper if it's apparently a copyright issue. Because on
this
the original,
barely looks like a car.
Because on the original, with the exception of the initial release of Sideburn, they had to put the Dodge Viper logo on every version of the original mold.
You know what the car mode looks like? It looks like a fucking soapbox derby car with like the shittiest roof on it. It's very square, very flat edge. It doesn't look sleek at all.
For the record, we have discussed the original Sideburn mold in episode 7 of the main podcast. That was Char's pick for an overhated figure that came to his mind.
Right.
Sorry, what?
And he was right.
I do sort of agree with your perspectives that he isn't necessarily complicated to transform, at least in the sense that, you know, he has so many steps so you can't figure out what to do. Like, I know what to do. It's just my problem with it is that it's an incredibly clumsy and not exactly what you might call an elegant transformation.
Yeah, but that's part of his charm.
Charm's not exactly the word I'd use, but okay. This is another thing that Sixo came to the rescue for, because on his Twitter feed, he has posted some video clips of, I think, the Autobot brothers, and in the process shows off Sideburn's transformation, which does, I suppose, make it a bit easier to convert him, or at least more fluid, I mean.
Yeah.
The big problem I have with the original is the fact that there's a step where you have to fold out his right arm and then rotate it around so that the wheel tucks into the chest. And, to be fair, that's a really cool transformation trick. I'm pretty sure I've seen that done on other toys somewhere. But the
I,
problem, so go on.
I was just gonna say I sure haven't.
But the problem I have is just that it's that bumper piece which clashes with those two hood panels. Well, his right hand hood panel, but you get what I mean. Trying to force the wheel past a bit of plastic, which causes the tire to it slides the tire off not completely off, but it partially slides it off in the process.
Yeah. It is a pretty clumsy step, I guess. But it's better than this piece of shit.
To give you an idea of how unpopular this one is amongst the Chugcratic seminar deans, even ID armed Chugmeister himself, I don't think is a fan of this one. Although I just think he's okay. Like, I will fully agree that the vehicle mode is not a patch on the original, but the transformation, it's not like the transformation on this one is super simplistic. It's still pretty involved. It's just hopefully a bit more of an enjoyable experience for me.
Yeah.
Although something else apparently to watch out for with this mode is that the knees, when going back into vehicle mode, the knees are supposed to tab onto the thighs to lock them, and apparently they're prone to breaking off. But yeah, I mean, it's clear this mold was meant for Sideburn, and even a Sideburn, I don't think a lot of people are happy with him.
Mm-mm. For good reason.
Even though he has pretty much all the characters' hallmarks: the engine chest, the roof, shield. Surprised he wasn't an Earthrise.
It's just because he looks bad. And the original Sideburn, for all of his faults, didn't look bad.
No, he didn't look bad. He just sort of, for me, he just sort of plays iffy.
Yeah.
Wonder if they'll do the other two Autobot brothers.
If they're as good as if they're as good as this one, let's hope not.
Well, in that case, we shall move on to another blue car, which hopefully we have more popular opinions about. Hotshot.
Yeah, Hotshot's all right. He just looks a little weird. His proportions, his body is so skinny now. Yeah, he just looks a little off is all, but um he looks like he should. He looks like he plays like he should. Comes with a key, comes with a gun. He look. I didn't realize on his arms the windows are clear plastic inserts. That's cool.
Yeah,
He just
so
has that. He just lacks a little grace. Is all. Transformers aren't designed as graceful as they used to be, and that's probably why he looks a little off. Like you can see the like look at the wings on the back of the car. You can see they're pegged right through the part. That's kind of disgusting. And then his legs, you can tell that they do the whole, open up concertina into itself, close thing. It's not saying it's worse than a sliding joint. It'll hold up better over time, but just makes his legs look a little funky. And his shoulders are a little weirdly shaped as well. But it looks like they actually hide his head into his torso this time. So
Go
he
on.
does everything a hotshot should do. Um, Probably going to be my favorite or second favorite Cybertron update so far. Though that list, I will admit, is not a particularly glowing one.
Compared to the original, I don't know whether it's the forearms don't look quite as stubby as they do on the original.
Yeah, they're definitely longer.
And yeah, I do kind of see that the chest is more trim. But the beyond that, he has the details that you'd expect from Cybertron Hotshot. Obviously, without the spring-loaded cyber key gimmick, but the gimmick is just the two fins flipping out, which you can do manually anyway on this one. So I don't view it as any major loss.
Yeah, it's basically you could do it on the Legends class figure too. I do like that they finally started adding keys to these guys.
Good. I wonder if that means that they'll reissue. Well, will they get keys out for Metroplex and Override?
Well, I mean, the way I see it is that Hotshot comes with the Velocitron key, so there's no need to make another one. It
But you
looks like
think
they're only going to be making one key for each design, and Hotshot comes with Velocitron. Starscream comes with the Cybertron one, the Decepticon version. Um, Cannonball comes with Earth, and Vector Prime comes with the Universal Key. So
it does look like they managed to work in a bit more articulation into this hot shot.
yeah. Oh yeah. They gave him a waist. They gave him thigh swivels. They gave him bicep swivels. This is all the original really needed. I think the arms can even move outward without moving the big shoulder pauldron. But don't quote me on that.
I'd still like to own the original mold sometime because I've never had experience with it.
I have two, and one of them's super rare.
Yes, you lucky bugger.
I got them for less than
But
$100.
but believe it or not, my most desired version of the original mold would be the Shattered Glass or Gold Bug.
Now that Shattered Glass can just sort of be its own thing now, I guess. I wouldn't be surprised if we got Shattered Glass Goldbug, Jet, Starscream. I guess they haven't done enough molds for more characters. But yeah, Goldbug would look great in this. It would also look good in movie breakaway colors. Oh, I
Well,
also just to make myself a hypocrite, I did see a listing for an Excellion repaint of this. I'm assuming it'll be the American Excellion and not Japanese Red Excellion. Though I would like a Red Excellion as well. That would be cool. But I don't think Hasbro would do that much of a deep cut.
I will say that the only other Shattered Glass character they might technically do is Alpha Trion, who was adapted from the Cybertron Vector Prime mold.
It would be
And
so funny if that's what turns out to be 2025's Alpha Trion, because we're getting one. It would be so funny.
yes, which brings us to another Cybertron update, that being none other than the Time
Uh,
Lord himself.
when I heard that this was going to be a G-Axis retool, I wasn't expecting it to be this bad. This is awful. This is downright awful. I genuinely despise this thing. And the worst part is the sculpted detail is amazing. Look at that. Look at all those gears. Look at his little chest circle thing. His head sculpt's spot on. He kept the pauldrons even though they're smaller this time. It's just the vehicle mode looks like shit. And the robot mode doesn't look much better.
Yeah,
They just fucked it up.
I'll admit I'm not too thrilled with how this turned out, because I think I mentioned it in our chat that in retooling Vector Prime from Jhaxus, they basically lost a lot of what makes Vector Prime as special as he is.
Yeah.
Or at least the original toy as special as he is. Which, by the way, Kit and I did a collab review on Kit's channel. Cheap plug.
Yes. Yeah. I've actually been getting a lot of attention on that video recently. Like 20 views in the past 2 days.
What, do you think it's because of this new Vector Prime?
Oh yeah, every time Hasbro unveils an update of a Cybertron character I've reviewed, I get view spikes. It happened for Cannonball. It happened for Vector Prime.
Yeah, but with Cannonball, didn't you post like a reminder, a gentle reminder in your community tab?
Yeah, but that was already after I noticed that more views were going on that video.
Fair deal. I mean, I will say that there are a couple of advantages to this toy over the original. For one, as a result of not having a chunk of the vehicle hang off his back, he won't be as top heavy as the original was.
Yeah, he's more posable.
Yeah, that's another thing. He's certainly more posable. And compared to the American toy, at least, this one is done in sort of a bright gray, akin to the Japanese release of Vector Prime. So it actually brings out the detail better instead of washing it out.
Yeah, he also looks more colorful in general than the original American release.
And I think those sails are actually made of like hard translucent plastic, so they won't warp like they will on
Yeah.
the original Vector Prime.
Mm-hmm. I like that the key can make a hilt on the sword, but it looks like the sword doesn't store in vehicle mode.
That we're
So
aware of anyway.
yeah, I mean you can probably just chuck it underneath or something. That's what they normally do. But yeah, this is honest to God the worst Cybertron update I've ever seen.
Does that include Siege Galaxy Upgrade Prime?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's call it a tie.
What did you say in episode 7, Kit? This thing is a pox on Cybertron updates in Chug.
Yeah. God. I don't know. I'd put this marginally above GUOP just because, like, it probably doesn't have as much structural issues and probably won't feel as bad in hand as well. It'll just feel like a normal figure. But, God, what does it take to get a good prime? They couldn't even smooth over the G-axis cables, or like turn the cables into like gears or something.
Yeah,
Like imagine,
that's what everyone else has been saying.
like they go so far to retool it into a new character, and they don't even go all the way to do it. What's the point?
I said in our own chat that the lower legs, like this is an example of taking something away from what makes Vector Prime his own. They just retain those exposed wires, which Vector Prime is a bit more polished than that, guys. He's ancient, but not battered down or anything like that. It's so characterful for G-Axis that it goes against Vector Prime, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. If they smoothed over the legs, I might have given it a shot, but it just shows that they didn't really try.
Well, they didn't go far enough. Vector Prime
Yeah.
deserves, especially if this is supposed to be sort of a segue into this upcoming generation's Prime toy line or whatever it's going to be called.
Yeah.
This was a bit of a this is a bit of a letdown.
Mm-hmm. He should have been his own mold.
Like way back when that whole design your own toy line craze was going around, I actually put this down as a potential leader class figure, and then it was revealed that he'd be not only a Voyager but a retool of G-Axis.
Sucks to be a Transformers fan.
But like the shoulder pauldrons are too small, and although the vehicle mode nose cone made him a bit top heavy in robot mode, it still like contributed to that cape. that he has.
I can deal with the shoulder pauldrons, but I've seen pictures of this toy from behind, and God, it looks awful. The cape effect just doesn't work. What they should have done is added some extra panels on the wings to fold out and like peg together to make a bigger cape. That would have been amazing. But no.
And then, of course, the vehicle tail fin is the central tail fin that is still distracting because it was on Jaxus.
Yeah, I'm not too bothered by that. It is what it is.
I guess what I'm trying to say, at least, is that for as much as they changed for this guy, and some of those changes aren't so bad, the original Vector Prime has an overall presence to him that this toy just lacks.
Yes, I agree.
And the sad part is that this is probably what they're going to retool, like this as is, just with a new head. They're probably going to retool it into Alpha Trion.
Yeah.
That's it as far as physical toy reveals are concerned. They did, of course, do a bunch of Space Bridge portal reveals, but I guess we'll wait for future live streams for those. Of course, we have the new Missing Link reveals, which we could potentially discuss in another extracurricular. It's nothing major, but I'm pretty sure there was supposed to be like a core class Bumblebee movie Starscream coming out for Studio Series. I don't know what's happened to that.
Oh, that's been revealed for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I know, but that was through Takara's stock photos.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and it wasn't shown on this live stream, and I'm not entirely sure that hasn't been pushed back for a little bit.
Gotcha.
In the meantime, we shall end things here. I shall get cracking working on yes, hello, Rusty. You shall get it's like you responded. I shall get cracking working on the 9th episode of the main podcast, working on some of the slides.
I gotta redo my drawing.
Thanks for joining me for this one, Kit.
You're welcome.
Still waiting for ID Arm to come on one of these. Until the next extracurricular seminar, take care till all are one.
Goodbye.